this huge crowd. Thank you for joining us here, and thank you for everyone who's joining at home. We're Lake Harriet Spiritual Community, a center for conscious living. We are an organization that gets together to explore global consciousness and our unique connection with the divine. And this is a movement, talk, and meditation service. And as you know, I start out speaking on the theme of the month, and then we move a little bit and speak a little more, and we move a little more, and then I speak a little more, and we move a little more. And we end up in a meditation, and I've got kind of a fun and I think inspiring YouTube video at the very end. So, okay. So, as you may know, the theme of this month is Love is Medicine. So when we think of the word love, we think of this really intense affection for something or someone or some activity. Hi, come on in. Or we think of lots of other things. But most of all, it's a force. It's a force that opens us up. And love opens us up, and sometimes it's a very, very wonderful feeling, like our heart is just leaping out of our chest. And other times, it makes us feel so vulnerable. So, love has some great effects on us, and sometimes that lack of love, or the perceived lack of love, has a whole other effect of us. Medicine, we think of as an art and a science, right? You do diagnosis, you do treatment, you have therapy, and it's not a cure always. It's not surgery where you're extracting something, you're pulling something out of someone, and sometimes it does cure, like antibiotics, they cure. But most of the time, it aids nature. It's aiding nature. Sometimes you're ingesting something. Sometimes you're speaking with someone as you do in psychotherapy. But it's helping nature along. So when we think of love as medicine, then it's this intense, positive force that's healing the mind, the body, and the spirit. And it transforms us over time. And there's all kinds of medical studies out there and that studies hormones, et cetera. And there's oxytocin that you feel like when you're nursing a baby, which is intense love. Or cortisol. With love, it keeps that cortisol at bay, and sometimes that contributes to hypertension and other things. So all kinds of studies about that. But slowly it transforms us. And one of the most positive ways that it can transform us is through emotional healing. There was a study done and published in 2023. They studied 930,000 kids. And they looked at what was called adverse childhood experiences. And they had 10 experiences that they clumped into various categories. And almost all the kids had at least one. But those that then had 4, okay, an adverse experience could be neglect, divorce, which is a perceived lack of love, not necessarily a true lack of love, bullying, et cetera, et cetera. So when they had 4 of those or more, then they had a tendency to have physical issues down the road, psychiatric issues down the road, more attempts at suicide, and more issues with the legal system and the social system. And they found that those with the higher incidences, 71% of the time, they would pass it on then to the next generation. So then it becomes intergenerational. So the lack of love creates a whole other dynamic. So bringing love in has its potential to help. So was anyone raised with Mr. Rogers on TV? Yeah, Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. Okay, so I don't know if you remember him. He was kind of a grandfatherly looking guy with his cardigan, and he had a TV show. He was a Presbyterian minister, and his setting was this cute little house with this, little flower box in front of the window, and he really impacted millions of kids and impacted an entire generation. Because what he brought them was the concept of unconditional love. And so he would start out, "Won't you be my neighbor? Please be my neighbor." And then he started out usually with something fun and interesting for the kids. How do you make crayons, So he'd kind of bring them in, and then he'd start talking about social issues, because he knew that social issues were an issue. And so there was fear of kids that were disabled. So he brought a disabled child, and he talked to that child, and they had a normal conversation. And there was racial tension there, so he brought a black policeman in and talked about all kinds of things and the law, and just had a normal conversation. And he talked about violence, he talked about death, and he brought emotions into it, like it's okay to cry. And when they were really getting personal, he sometimes would have a little puppet. I don't know if you remember that. And sometimes he'd be over the windowsill, or sometimes at the dining room table. And the puppet would be the child. Because sometimes the puppet can say things, or you can say things to each other without looking at a human. It's less scary. And the puppet would talk about things that were really tough. Like, my parents are getting a divorce, and I know they don't love each other, and I hope they love me. And they'd have that dialogue, and that dialogue would turn into the kid finally, or the puppet finally, understanding that it's not his fault. Because so often children think that those events are their fault. And it multiplies, and it multiplies. So it's been shown that sometimes that first childhood trauma is one of the greatest impacts in our life. So healing that is important. So Mr. Rogers testified in a Senate hearing, and this is going to sound kind of familiar, because things come around full circle, don't they? And that Senate hearing was to ask Congress to fund PBS TV, because he didn't think that normal TV really helped children emotionally, that it actually brought in the absence of love with the violence on TV rather than love. And he said that the most important thing is to bring emotional intelligence into children from an early start, and to all of us. So when we help our kids, we really help reshape the future. And as adults, it's important to take care of that unresolved guilt, because we know too much can end up in all kinds of things. And even too much love, or what we perceive too much love, can end up in attachment. We get attached to how our health used to be. We get attached to how things were. We get attached to the old times instead of what is and what can I do to make the best of what I have now. So it's been said there are three sources of love: love of yourself, love of others, and love of the universe. And that love of self isn't this narcissistic, selfish kind of a thing. It is total acceptance of who we are, deep acceptance of who we are, our flaws and everything. And it's important that we process it. Some people journal. What is it that I have done in my life, said or not said in my life, that, and you keep processing it, and you process it, and you look at it, and you look at it, and you look at it, and eventually you can nurture it and let it go. Because if you don't, then it's hard to let other things in. It's hard to let the good things in. So it allows you to let go of stuff so that you can give yourself and others the best that you can give. Because you can't give from an empty glass. You can't give from an empty glass. So with that, let's do our first exercise. So I encourage you, if you'd like, to stand up you might want to give yourself some room. And if you're sitting down, you can do some of the movements sitting down. But first, I encourage you to have your feet slightly apart. And we're not going to have music right now. We're going to the next time. And so this time, I encourage you to just take some deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. And I usually start out the first exercise getting rid of stuff that no longer serves us. So I'm going to encourage you to tap on your chest and breathing in and out. Sometimes energy gets stuck here. And the idea of Qigong and doing the tapping and some of the shaking movement is, and in a lot of Oriental medicine, is there's stuck energy. Cancer, stuck energy. When you've got cardiac disease, it's blocked arteries, it's things that are stuck there. So it's emotions that are stuck. And so envision just what may be stuck. And because I know some of us are suffering from some other bone ailments, let's just take two hands and do the same tapping on our shoulders, both shoulders. And let's just unstick some energy there. We know we've got somebody that's having shoulder surgery pretty soon. Let's unstick it so that kayaking is in the near future. And down to the knees. And let's just unstick the knees, because boy, as we age, we got to take care of them. Even if we don't feel anything now, let's just do it prophylactically. I walk around a city lake every day, and I know that I'm grateful for those knees, so let's just be grateful. Okay, then I'm going to ask you just tap up and hands up. And while your knees are still bent, I'm just going to ask you to bounce with those hands above your head. So from head to toe, or from above head from your toe, you're just going to move that energy. Just move any stuck energy from your hands to your head, to your chest, to your belly. Anything that might physically hurt you, be emotionally hurting, don't forget that heart. Don't forget that heart, and don't forget to breathe to clear those lungs. And just clear. Just imagine things from head to toe clearing. And then with those hands, bring those hands, shake them down, shake them at your side, shake whatever you want to shake. If you want to shake from side to side. Oh, and slowly stop. And take one hand, put it on your belly, the back of your hand on the small of your back. And when you breathe in, think of breathing healing. And when you breathe out love. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. One more time in healing. Breathe out love. Keep the one hand on your belly, put the other one on your chest. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. Take that hand from your belly onto your head, connecting your heart and your head. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. Breathe in healing. Breathe out love. Take that, both hands, raise them above you. Put your hand in a scooping motion all around you, and take all of that love that you just breathed out and what everyone else in this room breathed out, and scoop it up. And scoop it up and bring it to your heart. And think, I am worthy of full acceptance. Acceptance of my own love. Acceptance of the love, the world around me, and all of my flaws that go with me, all of my flaws that are part of my beautiful self. I accept myself with love and with light. Breathe and have a seat. Okay. So there was a doctor that was giving a lecture and to medical students, and he said, the best medicines for human is love. So students said, what if it doesn't work? And he said, just increase the dose. So give more than is necessary. You know, so often we say, well, you know, I did this, that should be enough. Try giving more than is necessary. I don't know if you can ever give too much. And isn't it true that it's easier to love mankind than it is to love our neighbor? The closer that person is, and particularly a relative at Thanksgiving, right? Sometimes the closer that person is, the more they push our buttons, okay? Humanity is way out here. So yeah, I love humanity, but do I love my neighbor that plays their music too loud? Do I, that gets into then our own personal space, and then sometimes we push things and people away. So if we attempt as much as we can to love others, even those that are hard to love, it helps open our hearts even further. So it's been said, I like the saying, love is medicine and dreams are oxygen. Love is medicine and dreams are oxygen. So when you put them together, they really fuel and spark creativity, and maybe even creativity in love. Might even start small. Mother Teresa said, not everyone can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. So there's a woman in Salt Lake City, and she was at the grocery store, and she saw them throwing out hundreds of loaves of bread. And why? Well, it's past the expiration date. Hundreds of loaves, really, you know how many people that could feed? Could I have them? And so she took them, and she put them on her front porch, and she just put a sign out for the neighborhood, free bread. And she did that every day for a while, and people kept coming, and all the bread kept going. And it's like, wow, I really want to do more here, but I got to work for a living. So she only did things in a small way for a while as she was working for a living, and then things sort of changed, and she could work less. And so then she started the free porch pantry out of her home. And over the years, she fed thousands of people because it grew. It turned into more than just bread. So on her front porch, her neighbors in the neighborhood all around knew that they could pick up free food. And she had all kinds of folks. She had the working poor. Yes, she had a few homeless. She had frazzled, single working moms. And some would take home a whole shopping cart. And some would just take, home a bunch of muffins, a package of muffins. And there were no questions asked. She didn't ask any questions. And some folks would come in deeply troubled. And, she would sit down with them and try to understand what they were going through. And some with very severe mental health issues. She never felt threatened. But she sat down and she gave them attention. She gave them attention, and she looked at them in the eye, and that acknowledgement sometimes can be so healing. And as she was getting older, she sometimes needed to be a little more absent, knee surgery, this, that. So her neighbors would help, which would be wonderful. But for her, she was the bread lady, and this was her labor of love. And so what helped her heal with each one of these health episodes is when somebody, she always remembered, somebody said, this morning I didn't have enough food to feed my family, but now I do. So she said it's transformative. So this is my work of love. And so in the end, she was helping others, but that labor of love was helping to heal and feed her. So it's a two-way street. It's always a two-way street. And it multiplies, and the energy multiplies. The Dalai Lama said that people were created to be loved, and things are created to be used. The reason the world's in chaos is that things are being loved and people are being used, right? So love is medicine for the sickness of the world. So we live in this society, and it just might be that the only medicine to fix a lot of the things that are going on now is love. And so we live in a world where there are shootings and we have shattered innocence that take place in what theoretically should be sacred spaces. And we know that the parents and the community around the Annunciation Church down the street from here have a lot of healing to do. And all over the world, similar events, we have a lot of healing to do. And healing is never really immediate, and it's never really linear. It happens over time. We heal, and then sometimes we dip, and we heal, and sometimes we dip. And so keeping up that momentum is really important. So when we connect with kindness and compassion and empathy, that helps keep up that level. And the really comforting thing, when it's during this time or even 9/11 or any other big tragedies that we've known about, people gather together in masses. So what happened here? If you walk the city lakes, you see those green and blue ribbons around almost every tree or light pole or whatever. And there have been walks around the lakes for healing of the community. Every Wednesday, people are still gathering along Lyndale Avenue to offer healing to anybody that's driving by. During the month of that shooting, there were 5 times more people that gave blood than normal in this community, and more restaurants that gave free meals. So it multiplies, and we come together. We come together. So remembering this and connecting with this is what we need to do, because meeting things with resistance doesn't bring that connection in. Understanding each other, even when we disagree, and sometimes that's really hard, brings a connection even when we disagree. And forgiving people, not only ourselves, but forgiving others, brings true freedom to ourselves. So our challenge is to keep remembering that and connecting. So our next exercise, I encourage you to stand up, or if you're sitting, feet slightly apart, knees bent, stand up with the feet slightly apart, bent, and now we're going to have the music and we're going to connect. And you're just going to first imagine yourself standing in a stream, a strong, strong, strong tree, with your roots grounded, the water flowing at your feet, and you're not knocked down by that water because you are strong. And slowly raise your arms up above you and turn to one side and look up, connecting with Father Sky, the sun, the healing of the sun, the 80-degree day that we're about to experience at the end of September today. Come towards the center, that beautiful dome. And to the other side, still connecting and allowing the love from Father Sky, the heat from the sun, inviting it to come through you. Come to center. Bring arms down to heart level. Arms as back as far as you can, chest as far forward as far as it can. Putting your heart out there, your vulnerable, beautiful heart. Absorbing the love of the universe, of your ancestors, of your friends, your loved ones that may still or still not be on this earth. Allow them to touch your heart. Slowly bring those arms towards you. And the hands turn towards you. And now I encourage you, as far as you can go, slowly go down your body. And see if you can connect with Mother Earth. If you can touch the ground, great. If you can't, as low as you can go. Your calves, your ankles. Grounding and centering you with Mother Earth. Mother Earth that brings the soil, that grows the food we eat. Mother Earth that nurtures us. Give thanks to Mother Earth and all that she gives us. And feel that love. Exchange it between you and Mother Earth. Slowly come up. And take one hand, point it down towards Mother Earth. Take the other hand, point it up to Father Sky. Thinking of yourself as a conduit of light flowing through you from the sun, the universe above, through you in light and love, and down out to Mother Earth. And back up from your lower hand from Mother Earth through you to the universe. And slowly reverse those hands, connecting the universe through you with the earth. Through your love being a conduit and a source of love that heals. Bring your hands together, back to your heart. Take a deep breath and have a seat. Okay. So now we're at universal love. Universal love is that energy that's really available to all living things. And we feel it the most when we connect with nature, because that's when we're reminded of it. Or sometimes when we travel, or we're out there with people, we experience it. So I walk City Lake every day, and so I get to experience both. I get to experience Mother Nature and all the birds and, what leaves are changing at what time. But then usually I run into somebody, when I'm walking into lakes, or even if I don't, I notice. You notice, the little dogs and the love between the mom and the baby as she's, pushing the stroller, or the cat lady that's pushing her cat in the stroller. I mean, you just notice all these things, and they're just really so beautiful. And so it reminds us, universal love reminds us that we're all part of something greater, and that we're never alone. And babies are so good at remembering this. They're really so good, because they come into this world and they can't do anything, right? They can't feed themselves, they can't potty themselves, they can't do anything. So they come into this world saying, I need you. I need you, I need everything that's around me. And even the most homeliest of babies, you look at them and they just kill you with cuteness. I mean, you can't help but just smile. You just really can't help but smile. And so they remember, they know how to connect. They know how to kill everyone with this wonderful beauty and this wonderful energy. And we forget that. Except then, we come full circle. So we do it as a baby, and then we get really busy with making a living and doing whatever. And then we come full circle, and then now, whatever. Illness happens, age happens, and now we start thinking about, okay, this is what life is about. What is life all about? Oh, it's about connecting. We start having renewed thoughts about what really is important. So I'm going to talk about, not the religion, I'm going to talk real briefly about the Pope Francis. And so he was known as the person amongst the people. And so he was an advocate for the health of the planet, for human rights, for human dignity. And it's interesting, as you watched him, he didn't value his connection with all the powerful people in the world. He connected with the little man, because he said, God speaks through many voices. And he also said, to maintain integrity in this world, you have to be humble. So when he became the Pope, he chose the name Francis because that was considered the patron saint of the poor. And when he became Pope, he refused to live in the Vatican Palace. He lived in the Vatican Hotel. And he refused to wear the fancy Italian shoes. They have great Italian shoes in Italy. You can pay $2,000 for some of those Italian shoes, but he didn't do that. He didn't travel routinely in the fancy mobile, but when he did parades or whatever, yes, he was in the Pope mobile, that's true. And when he even died, he said, I don't want to be buried in the Vatican Palace. I want to be buried at that little church across town. So, and a lot of people in the church couldn't stand it when he would wash the feet of women, of Muslims, Jews, refugees, There were really no barriers. We were all humans to him. We were all humans. And without changing doctrine, he changed the culture. He was a global moral leader. So in his last days, he was very ill, if you remember, and millions of people felt this need to pray for him. And you'd say, this is a sick old man. He's going to die anyways. These prayers aren't going to keep him alive. Why would you spend so much time and energy praying for this man that's not going to be here any longer? And he made it a couple months and made it through Easter Sunday. And he was able to be in his mobile and greet a bunch of people in I don't know, somewhere near the Vatican. And then he passed away the next day after Easter Sunday. So it didn't keep him alive very much, but was that really the purpose? So when you think of the purpose of whether we call it meditation, prayer, or really, what is it? Focused love. It doesn't have to be prayer. We can call it whatever we want. But when we are doing something like that, millions of people focusing this positive, intense energy of love, it's got to be healing. It's got to be healing to not only those individuals, but the people around them. And with more of that, and you hope you don't need tragedies to have more of that, but we do have more and more of that. We see musicians getting together for certain causes. We see lots of efforts with large groups of people coming together to focus their love and energy. And so Mother Teresa said, you can love all people perfectly if you love the God in them. And I believe, she said, God loves the world through us, you and me. So maybe if we kind of pull that in all together, does that mean that all of us has the loving capability of healing ourselves, each other, and the world? So I invite you to our last movement, and then we'll move into our meditation. If you'd like to stand up, or if you want to stay seated, that's fine. But this time, I'm going to ask you to move just a little bit more and just a little bit longer. So feet slightly apart. Oh, as if you're standing in that stream again. Strong, strong, strong. Breathe in and out. Hands up. And let's just do a couple of circles around with those hands. Remembering to breathe in and out. Slow, steady, even circles. So the first Qigong exercise we did to clear whatever's stuck so we can bring in love. The second movement was to connect ourselves with love. This we're doing both. We're clearing the air all around us, clearing it even further while moving our energy. Now put one foot slightly in front to the side and take your hands and push out as though you were kind of swimming, and pushing and clearing more of the energy all around you as much as you can. Clearing as much as you can to let as much love and light in as you possibly can. And we'll do this a couple more times. And with those hands in front of you, palms up, and bring it back to you. You can sense a theme, right? We're clearing and we're bringing back. Backstroke and bring it back to you. Backstroke and bring it back to you. One more time. Bring it back to you. Come together. The other foot in front of you. Off to the side. Clear again. Clear again. Moving any cobwebs that exist physically, mentally, emotionally. Cobwebs from the brain, the heart, all throughout the body. Those lungs. Okay. And then with your hands in front of you, palms up, bring it back. Remember to breathe. Bring it back. Bring back the love, the healing, that positive, strong, strong, strong force. Back to center. I'm going to do what's called paintbrush hands. So with your palms facing you, fingertips down, going to go up your body, and then back down with your palms facing away from you. And while you're doing this, just think of as far down as you can go on your body. Think of now cleansing your bone marrow. Cleansing the most inner core of your physical body that's responsible for so much. Your immune system, your resistance to infection. Gathering those white blood cells. Air circulating from your lungs through your circulatory system, from your heart to your lungs, down into every artery, back up through every vein. And pause here. And hands together, slightly apart. And now we're going to do that, pushing your heart out and hands almost together, just a little faster than what we did earlier. Building energy and love to its extreme, and healing to its extreme, the medicine of the world, and build it. And so as those hands are coming closer, it builds and builds, and just hold it there and surround it. Surround it like a ball, like you're containing it even further. You're containing it into focused love and healing. And take that ball and give it up to the universe. Sending healing thoughts to the universe, bringing your hands towards you and to your heart. So I encourage you to have a seat. And feet flat on the ground. We're going to do a little meditation for a couple of minutes. I like to have my palms up. If I'm not talking, I like to have my tongue at the top roof of my mouth, but that's me, whatever's comfortable for you. But first, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and continue that. And I'm going to invite you to follow my guided meditation as if it were yourself. I see myself and I am full of light. I am full of light. I feel fully healed. And I take this feeling and think of those people in my life, my ancestors, my friends, those who have loved me, and those who have not. And I'm sending my healing light to everyone in forgiveness, in love. And then I look at myself and I see how big and light my soul is, how full of light it is, how huge my soul is. And I look at little Mother Earth, the size of a marble. She's so vulnerable. She's so vulnerable, and she's given me so much love. And I extend all of my light and love to that beautiful earth. I extend all of my love to that beautiful earth, all the souls living on it, all of the souls surrounding it. And just for a minute, I'm going to sit and glow with it all in silence.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. Imagine there's no heaven, no hell below us. It's easy if you try. Above us only sky, no hell below. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine all the people. Imagine there's no countries living for today. It isn't hard to do. Imagine there's no countries, nothing to kill or die for. It isn't hard. And no religion too. Nothing to kill or die. Imagine all the people and no religion living life in peace. Imagine all the people. You must say that I'm a dreamer, living life in peace. But I'm not the only one. You may say that I hope someday you'll join us. But I'm the only one. And the world will live as one. I hope someday you'll join us. Imagine no possessions. And the world will live as one. I wonder if you can. Imagine no possessions. No need for greed or hunger. I wonder if you can. Or brotherhood of man. No need for greed. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You imagine all the people. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. You may say that I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. I hope someday you'll join us. You may say that I'm a dreamer, and the world will live, but I'm not the only one. You may say that I hope someday you'll join us, but I'm not the only, and the world, I hope someday will live as one. And the world will live as one.
Invite you to come to our closing circle. Join hands in small circle. We'll probably go around a couple of the chairs there. We're not going to make it all the way around. Well, that was Eva Cassidy. So thank you, John Lennon and Eva Cassidy, for beautiful song, beautiful music. Okay, another deep breath. So, Mother, Father, God, Spirit, angels, ancestors, all who love us, thank you. Thank you for life on this earth. Thank you for the opportunity to love. And when we walk out of here today, let's look someone in the eye and send love to them, eye to eye, with the intent of healing whatever they may need, wherever they are from. Thank you so much. Aho. Oh, thank you.